Welcome to the realm of magic and mystery, classic horror and sci-fi. You are now entering the House of the Unusual podcast with your hosts, Eddie and Joe. Welcome all you cool ghouls and friendly fiends to the House of the Unusual podcast. I'm your host, Joe Pavlansky, and with me as always are my good buddies, Eddie, Chuck, and Cheri. Everyone, what's up?
Hey.
All right. Let's hope we could get through this again. This will be our second take because we are having some major power issues in the especially the Northeast United States with the heat the way it is going up to I know Northeast Ohio where I'm at, our heat index is about 105 and people are losing power like crazy. And Chuck, I believe when we were talking before the show, it was the same in your area, correct?
Yeah, the heat index feels like it's 109. And you know what? I didn't know it felt that bad because we took the dog for about a 45-minute walk. I was wondering why I was sweating like crazy, and the dog had his tongue hanging out.
I bet you guys wish you were still at the beach, and you guys just came off a pretty cool vacation. So let us live vicariously through.
Oh man, I'll tell you what, it was a blast. We were there about 5 days, Joe, and you know what? We like the hustle and bustle of the boardwalk, and we walked about 7 miles. You can believe that. Yeah, so we just kept walking all over the place, and we stopped at Ripley's, and I put a brief video online, and also the Funhouse, which I'll talk about that a little bit later on. Cheri, what did you want to?
Oh no, we had a lot of nice beach time and swimming pool at the hotel. So we did a lot of cool things.
Absolutely, it was a lot of fun. I tell you what, we got a lot of sun. That sun down there is dangerous. I mean, I don't usually get burnt, but I had to put some sunscreen on. I mean, it was crazy. Wow.
I tell you, I was just talking to somebody from work. They're heading down to Florida this week, right on the beach, and I said, you know what? I said, back in my younger days, I would have loved to. I used to love going to the beach, Myrtle Beach a lot because I lived down in North Carolina. We were about an hour and a half from it, we'd hustle and bustle, run around and walk around, and anymore I'm like, I would just like to go to the beach, sit under an umbrella and read a good book, with a nice cold beverage.
Yeah, the guy that works for our chiropractor, he feels the same way. He's going down to Myrtle Beach and he just wants to sit and like stare at a tree. I said, nah, man, I like to.
No, I think he's going to Outer Banks.
Outer Banks. Outer Banks.
Oh,
and, laid back, man. But you know what? We like the craziness. I don't know. Right now, anyway, maybe when we get a little bit older or something, we would like it more quiet. But
we like to relax, too.
Yeah, there is a relaxed time. There's a time and a place for everything. But
right. I would be more of the hustle and bustle when the sun went down. That's when I would like to hit the boardwalk and walk around when it's a little bit cooler. But during the day, just a good cigar, maybe a cold beer or two, and just sit and read a good book while I'm listening to the waves come in. That would be my ideal.
And the thing that was cool, Joe, is there are street performers all along the boardwalk.
We'll have to tell you about that.
Yeah, we'll have to tell you about that too a little bit later on. One guy, he did a little bit of magic and he did some unicycle riding, and he was really, really good. I mean, he had a lot of quips. You know what? He was very funny with the audience and so forth. And so they got the street performers spaced out. I'm not exactly how far, but I was tempted to pull out a deck of cards and maybe some stuff myself. You know what I mean?
There you go. But I definitely want to hear more of the stories about that. Yeah. And I think we're going to have to swap some stories
definitely
a little bit later. And I want to hear about the Ripleys and the dark ride and all that.
Yes.
But before we get into that, let's see what's happening over at our curator of House of the Unusual, Eddie Guevara, because he's always busy and always up to something. So Eddie, what's up?
Well, how are you guys? I'm actually have been the last couple of days redoing the YouTube channel, and we're doing a lot of updates. It's going to change. The whole YouTube channel is going to change, so it's easier to navigate, easier to understand, and the best part, it's going to have playlists for each of us that we do things. Like Joe will have his Crypt of Classics, which he will tell you more about in a few. Chuck will have his entire thing. It's going to be called Chuck's Archives. I'm also going to have Chuck's Corners as a different playlist because I don't want it to mix in with all the different videos. But other than that, everything is really, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be good. So that's all I got, Joe. Go ahead.
All right, that sounds good. And I'm looking at my computer here of what I wanted to. Okay. So Chuck, so you did say that you watched The Slime People. That was our homework movie monster from a couple weeks ago. So what did you think of it? Was it the B movie that B movies watch?
Yeah, you know what? It was a B movie. There's no doubt about it. But but the movie did have its own charm to it. I kind of like the part where they kind of hold up into the meat locker at the butcher shop,
Yeah.
and while the prices on the wall on those pages were like 29 cents a pound for.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, but it was a cool movie. I thought it was pretty good. You know what I mean, for its time, and you know what, I kind of like B movies, and because they do have their own charm about it.
Now, Cheri, I heard that the movie scared you so much that you went upstairs and went to sleep. Is that true?
Well, yes. I saw the beginning for a sec, and then I thought, well, let me go upstairs and watch some Golden Girls.
Hey, I am a huge fan of Golden Girls, so which we've mentioned on the podcast before. That's one of my nostalgic TV shows. But
yeah,
the thing about it, Joe, pretty much we are on the same page with everything except for movies. Yeah, she can't stand those kind of B-rated movies.
Sometimes,
very rarely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, Cheri and Eddie, I'm going to ask you because I can't remember if I asked you. Did you end up catching the Slime People?
No, I didn't, Joe.
Oh man, you and Cheri, you guys each go to the dungeon for your 10 lashings.
Yeah, go to the butcher shop.
But I gotta be honest with you, Joe. I do think that for some reason I might have watched it way back. I mean, way back, because I think I told you I had a 50 movie set or 100 movie set that I bought in the old what was it called? Not Sam Goodies, but it was, I forgot the name of it, but I bought a whole thing when they were closing the store, and I spent like a whole 6 months every single night watching one of those B movies. So I might have watched it.
Yeah, you probably did. Yeah,
it might have been on there. Yeah, but
it was. The one thing I did want to mention. You know what? I couldn't be on the show for the 100th the episode because we were still down in still at the beach. But I wanted to just mention real quick. Hey, thank you to the viewers. Thank you to the listeners. If it wasn't for you folks, we would not be here. So my sincerest thank you to everybody out there.
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely monumental. So this is our 101st episode. So it's great to have you guys with us. And for our 101st episode, I do have another movie for everybody out there for a little bit of their homework. And Cheri, that you should be able to watch this one because it's not that scary, but it's it's an interesting movie. It has some good sets on it, and it's a little bit eerie. And it's called White Zombie from 1932. And it's a pre-code horror film, and it stars the one and only Bela Lugosi. Are you guys familiar with this movie?
Boy, that sure sounds familiar. I don't know, but it does sound familiar. But I'll check it out.
I'm familiar with it, Joe. That's the one with the big eyes that looks like.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, it is the he's like a mentalist, and he hypnotizes people into to being zombies. It's very it's a very B movie. But it's very cool. Like I said, it's definitely worth checking out. It's not too long. It's only about anywhere from 67 to 70 minutes, depending on what cut you find. And it's readily available on YouTube. Just type it in. It's a cool movie, though. So that's your homework for the week. White Zombie from 1932.
We'll check
Cheri,
it out.
you'll be tested on it next week.
Okay.
Definitely. All right, guys. So also, just some quick news is me and Eddie were talking a little bit ago, and we're going to hopefully put on the YouTube channel some old time radio classic shows, some horror and sci-fi ones. And what we're going to do is we'll put one up on YouTube and we'll talk about it a little bit on the podcast here because if you guys aren't really familiar with the old time radio programs, which we tend to have a lot of kind of like an older audience here, so you guys might be a little bit familiar with it. But those that aren't, they're just theater for the imagination. They're very cool, and what's nice about them is that you'll be able to find them on our YouTube channel. I'm not going to put too many out there, one here and there. We want to tease you guys a little bit, but they're great. They introduce themselves. They usually have a nice host that introduces it at the beginning. like we talked about, I think a couple weeks ago with the Witch's Tale, you had old Nancy, the witch, and her cat Satan, which were the hosts of that. So they're really cool. Some of them are kind of cheesy and all that, and very juvenile, and you'll probably be able to guess what the story is, but they're fun nonetheless. And Chuck and Cheri and Eddie, you guys are pretty familiar with some old time radio shows, correct?
Oh, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. And speaking of the Witch's Tale, Cheri did buy me the book, which I posted on the forum, and so I did have a chance to read about half of it. You know what? We did not drive down to the ocean. We actually caught a tour bus because you know what? I'm so tired of driving, Joe. I mean, with all the shows I do.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah. So I pulled the book out and I actually read about half of it, you know, and I tell you what, it's a fascinating book. It tells a lot of the history about Nancy the Witch. They had a 75-year-old woman that that played the voice, but then she passed away, and
Right.
they got a 13-year-old girl to do it.
Wow.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, she was like a midnight audition or something that she was just coming off of another show, and they said, "Hey, you want to audition for this?" And she did, and they liked her voice and all that. And you know what pisses me off, Chuck,
What's
is
that?
that I had ordered that book. You sent me a photo of yours. Mine was still in transit. And it finally got here, and the upper corner on the front was dented and ripped.
Oh no.
So I had to send it back. I ordered from another company, and they said it won't be here until like June 21st to the 28th. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Oh my.
How the heck did you guys get yours so quick?
Amazon.
Well, I think where
That's
you
where I
ordered.
ordered mine from too.
Huh. I don't know.
You know what? Every once in a while, something does get misplaced or something. Remember, there was a couple things here and there. It just never showed up. I mean, so she had to, contact them and like get a refund or whatever. But every once in a while, there is an overall. They're pretty quick. I mean, we got this book like the next day, I think.
Yeah.
You know what? I've had more. I don't know why I still order books off of Amazon, because every time I order one, they come in dented or ripped. They'll send them sometimes in just a box, no kind of protection or nothing. And I was just talking to a buddy the other day. We were talking about comic books, and I was so pissed off. One of my pet peeves is people not packaging stuff properly. Because you spend good, no matter how much you spend, you're still spending your hard-earned money.
Oh, absolutely.
For a product. You expect to get it in a certain condition, the one that's specified by the seller, correct?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. You know what? I actually sold a lot of things, on like different places, and I kind of have OCD. I'll pack things. Hi, Cheri. It'll.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, you won't believe it, Eddie. Like, when when I used to sell these flea circuses, I sold over about 150 of them all across the world. It would literally take 3 hours to pack each one up, because I do each piece minutely with the Excelsior, the bubble wrap. I mean, I'm like a fanatic, man. But you know what? It's actually probably better to be that way.
Oh, it absolutely is. And I ordered I was talking to a buddy. He had ordered a comic book set, and he paid a few $100s for it. And I said, you better, check, make sure that they're coming in bagged and boarded, because they were coming in from Hawaii.
Oh,
and he goes, oh no, he goes, yeah, they'll come in bagged and boarded. Nobody ships them, any other way anymore. Well, he got them in, and they were not bagged, not boarded.
Crazy.
And they were in a plastic grocery bag in a box with no bubble wrap, no nothing.
Oh my.
And I had told him, I said, I ordered a set off of eBay. It was called the Scout. And it was a 40 book set, and then you got 2 trade paperbacks, and this came out in the 80s.
Yeah.
And the photos, were just just showed them bagged. And I had talked to him prior to this, and I said, the photos are bagged. And so he told me, he goes, oh, nobody sends them like that anymore. He goes, they'll be bagged and boarded, don't worry. Well, I tell you what, they came in just bagged in a box with no kind of bubble wrap or no nothing. I was like livid. I checked every book to make sure nothing was, smashed, and luckily it wasn't. But
yeah,
I mean, I take such care when I package stuff, and just because I'm so afraid that it's going to come ruined, and these people are expecting a good product. And
absolutely.
These people that are just tossing it in there, and the same with Amazon. They just toss books in a box and send it to you.
Yeah,
and then they come, all banged up.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a system of balance, checks and balances too. I mean, you want to keep your feedback up as high as possible too. You know what I mean? So so it's important to pack that stuff up good.
Yeah, absolutely. So hey, before we get into because I want to hear about your guys' trip and all that, about Ripley's and the dark ride, which was really cool, and I really appreciate the photos and the video. It was really cool, and we're gonna dig into that a little bit more. But real quick, everybody, mymoviemonsters.com, head over there. The new Scary Monsters is out. It is the Tolkien's Evil Beasts. It's number 126, and they do have for pre-order number 127. It's Island Ghouls issue. Fantastic covers, some great articles in there. So make sure you guys go ahead and check it out, and be on the lookout for Castle of Frankenstein magazine number 36. We'll be hitting the shelf soon. It's coming this fall, so pre-orders are available. mymoviemonsters.com. And if anybody's able to make it, we have coming up next week, actually, June 24th through the 26th, is the Monster Bash festival out in where is it this year? I think it's technically Mars, or Cranberry Township, Mars, PA.
Wow.
So it's at the Marriott Pittsburgh North hotel this year. It's a new hotel, but I tell you what, if you go on to monsterbashnews.com, you could see the schedule up there, and there's some great movies and guests heading up the schedule, and it goes all hours of the night. It starts at like 9 in the morning, and I think they show the last movie about 1:30 at night, so that's perfect for night people like me, because I'm up all night and eating snacks and watching scary movies. So check it out, monsterbashnews.com, and you can find there everything going on for this June. There's which I'm really excited about, coming up this August in Akron, is it's going to be the Bela Lugosi Film Festival.
Ooh.
It's in Canton, Ohio, and it's at the what the heck is it called? There's a big Chuck, are you familiar with Canton out there? There's a big theater out there. I can't remember what it's called.
I don't remember the theater, but don't they have the Sports Hall of Fame out there?
Yeah, they do. It's called the Palace Theater, and it's a really old style theater. Looks fantastic. I'm looking at a picture of it now on there, but it's August 12th through the 13th.
Oh, so nice.
Playing all Bela Lugosi movies on the big screen, so make sure you guys check that out. So that's all we got for a little bit of our house cleaning. I like I told my wife last week, I said we were on the road to Monster Bash. Everything's all monsters all the time. So I'm like a little kid, where Christmas is coming up. I'm getting really excited, and my vacation went through at work, so I'm off pretty much all week, Wednesday through Sunday next week. And
all right,
a great monster weekend. So all right, Chuck and Cheri, we're going to turn it over to you guys, because me and Eddie are dying to hear about the vacation that we weren't invited to. We have to live vicariously through you guys, and we definitely want to hear about Ripley's, and especially the dark ride, because if anyone remembers, in some past episodes we've talked about dark rides a lot, and I know Eddie's had a lot more experience with them, especially in the Jersey area. So I want to hear your guys kind of back and forth on it, and kind of compare them to some other ones that you guys have visited.
Yeah, no problem. You know what? We got to Ocean City, and you know what? The hotel was literally like probably 20 feet from the boardwalk. You know what I mean? So the ocean was right there. And so, you know what? We just put our clothes away. We hung our stuff up, packed it in the drawers. We said, well, let's go on the boardwalk and let's start walking. So we started walking all the way down to the end. And the first thing we did was went to Ripley's, believe it or not. Believe it or not, we went to Ripley's.
We thought that would be a good time. Sunday evening, it wasn't really busy.
Yeah,
and so we could film.
You know what? And it did not disappoint. It was on a Sunday, like she said. It was a little sparse. There wasn't too many people there, so we paid for the double type of a thing. Like
they added that.
Yeah, they added like a mirror room.
It's called a mirror maze.
The mirror maze, where like it's a
that was cool.
Like it looks infinity, and I did bang into it. I actually walked into it with my tablet. But the actual Ripley's is really cool. I mean, we took the kids there about 14, 15 years ago. I can't remember a lot of it, but wow, it was really cool. They have shrunken heads. I posted a few pictures. They have the bell where people were buried with a coffin, like they were afraid of being buried alive, and they pulled the string if they woke up, and people on the outside could hear the bell ring.
A lot of different oddities.
Yeah, tons of oddities. So we did get a brief video. You know what? So all the listeners out there, go to YouTube under Cheri's channel, or it's on Eddie's. Yeah, that's correct. And if you go under the House of Unusual, and if you check it up, there's about a 5-minute video we put.
And the ride too.
And the actual dark ride coming up. You know what though? But the thing that kind of disappointed me with Ripley's was they have a cool pinball machine. It's the Ripley's one, but it was broke.
Oh
yeah, I mean, we put a couple quarters in, it just would not take the money.
It took your quarters.
yeah. So we could not play that. It looked like a really cool game.
It was a ripoff.
Now, Cheri, what was your favorite attraction there at Ripley?
Believe it or not.
I know, really. I don't know. There were so many neat things. The coffin was kind of neat. That was really creepy looking. With the bell, in case God forbid you got buried alive.
The bathroom. Tell them about the bathroom.
Oh yeah. I had to use the ladies' room as usual. So one said restroom, and I opened the door, and there's a guy standing there, and it was urinating. It was so weird, and it was going shh, like he was going like a racehorse. And I said, "Oh my!" And I just hurried up and closed the door and told Chuck, and then I said, "Wait a minute! There's the women's room and there's the men's room." We went back, and it was a mannequin standing there. Oh my God, it was so funny. I said, "Leave it to Ripley."
Yeah. That's
great.
I bet this guy was fun at parties. I bet Robert Ripley was a fun guy to have around. You know what? So I went into the bathroom. I figured this is going to be strange.
Oh, here we go. There's another one.
Yeah. So so I'm standing at the urinal, and I hear somebody farting. It's going
like a fart machine.
Yeah, like a fart machine. I said, "What's going on here?" And you know what? There was like an electronic fart machine that was just farting the whole time in the bathroom. Yeah, there you go.
Like that.
Yeah, that happened in the women's room too. And I said, "Chuck, is that you?"
That's great.
I thought he was outside.
I tell you what, if I went that loud, I'd have to go to the emergency room. There's an issue, But but the place was a blast. I mean, we had a good time. And then I think a couple of days later, we went to the dark ride. You know what? I've always been a big fan of dark houses.
It's called the haunted.
It's called the haunted house. Out here in Kennywood, there was two of them when I was growing up as a kid. One was called the Ghost Ship. It burnt down, I believe, in 1975 when I was about 10 years old. And they had another ride that they just took apart and they dismantled it after like 25 years. It was called La Couche. And I think that means dungeon in French. But it was really cool. But the one on the boardwalk was built in 1964. They have a plaque. And it is a permanent one. Like, it's not the kind you take apart and move or anything. It costed $7 a person to ride it, and it's well worth it. And like you said, Joe, it's way bigger than I thought. I mean,
it really was.
You know what? If you watch the video on House of the Unusual, like, you could see me say, "Okay, guys, thanks for stopping by."
Yeah.
And it crashes through more doors. I said, "Wait a minute, I don't think we're done." And then I said, "Okay, I think that's it." Boom! It crashes through more doors. It just went on and on.
Now, Eddie, you're a big dark ride person. I know you've talked about, you've been through a lot. Have you ever been through one that was that long? It was like, what, about 5 minutes, I think.
Yeah, over 5.
Yes, I have. They're usually between 3 and 4 minutes, give or take. But there's some that do us, they do 5 minutes like that. My favorite, as you guys know, was the Keansburg ride, and the Keansburg ride is one that I tried to purchase back in 2001 because it said it was the oldest. Because Keansburg is the second oldest park in the world, actually. Coney Island was the first, and then Keansburg opened in the early 1900s. Or late 1800s, I think. And it used to be that where people would go to Coney Island, and then they take the ferry over to Keansburg, and then it was a drinker's town. There was a bar in every corner. Back in the day, the guy who used to own that was the grandfather of, he's actually the prosecutor for the Keansburg area. I don't want to give names, just in case, but he became the lawyer that helped me close on my house that I purchased this in 2000, which was in Keansburg. And, he told me a story how his grandfather owned the ferry when he was younger that he would, ride the ferry back from Coney Island to there. And, so Kingsburg always said that their haunted house was the last haunted or the oldest running, with the carts inside dune buggy haunted house in the country. Having said that, I tried to purchase it. I actually offered the guy a couple of grand for it. The guy who owned it, he said, no, it came to me from my grandfather, to my father, to me. He was the grandson now. And this guy's in his 60s. And he said, my daughter now has it. The daughter would not sell it. She said, nope, that's how I pay my college, this and that. So I was like bummed out.
Oh, wow.
A few years later, like 10 years later, there was a hurricane. And I think it got demolished. But I think they're redoing it right now. My son actually told me that he passed by Kingsburg and they're revamping the whole park, which, I'm kind of very happy that happened because I kind of liked that haunted house. It was super cool. I have so many videos of it. But what I want to tell you guys, it was kind of, now that you mentioned haunted house, one of the lone rides like that, there used to be one in Coney Island called Spook-A-Rama. The other day, I don't know what film I was watching. It was a very, very old film from the 50s or 60s, or it was a show or film, and they were actually riding the Coney Island Spook-A-Rama. Oh, no, it wasn't a film. I'm sorry. I'm thrown off. I got recently a Honeymooners, I think it's called the Honeymooners Anniversary Edition that has about 10 comic books featuring the episodes. I don't know if you have that, Joe. And in it, there was a story of him and Norton riding Spook-A-Rama in Coney Island. And I said to myself, it's funny. I'm one of those guys that did ride it. And you can actually watch in that film I have on YouTube that says Coney Island.
Yeah, that's neat.
You can see me because the Spook-A-Rama, the way it worked out was when you got on this dune buggy, it would go to one section, and then you go in. Which it was kind of corny. You had a Batman and Robin inside. That when you passed in, it would light up, and you hear like and then it would go, and you hear all the bells like beep, beep, that stuff, and then it would come out, and it would be outside, and it would go in for like a 20-foot. Thing outside, you'd be riding on the cart, and then it goes into a second section. So that was a pretty long ride that I can remember. But yes, Joe, they're the best. They were my favorites, and I do regret that there was one in Coney Island that was 2 blocks away from the actual park, and it said Ghost. And I wanted to go in it, but I gotta be honest with you, as a kid, I got a little scared. and it was a dune buggy thing that you would get, and now I'm saying to myself, what an idiot. And I could have sworn it was called Ghost House, similar to the one in Kingsburg. It kind of looked the same. I don't exactly remember how it looked 100%. I mean, I have a pretty good idea, but you know what? I regret it because those are the best rides in the world. I hate
they are.
Yeah, it's been such a long time since I've been on any type of dark ride or anything, but just watching that one, I mean, how cool was that? I tell you what, one of the coolest parts I thought of it was when you went outside on that balcony and you were able to see the ocean. Now that was
I'll tell you what, that was fantastic. And Cheri was afraid she's going to drop her phone. Tell them, Cheri.
Oh yeah, well, you'll see in that one part there was a live person looking at me. I was freaking out. I didn't know if he was going to say stop filming, or he didn't say a word. He just kept standing there, and then we had to go and ride it. The next night we rode it again because, when you're filming something, you don't get the whole ambiance of everything, right. So we had to do it again, and it was just so much fun. But I was afraid I was going to drop that phone because it was rocking back and forth, and I didn't know what to expect, but it was a good time.
Was it $7 a person?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
You see, but you guys got to do like I did in Walt Disney when I went into the Haunted Mansion. I said, well, I didn't, I filmed the first part. I filmed the second. I might as well keep going. I did 7 straight times.
Oh, my goodness.
That's cool. Wow, that's neat.
Fun.
Hey, guys, when I was just real quick, before I forget, because I don't want to forget on this episode, is when I was doing the little fart thing.
Yes.
Right there. So, it's on stupidcomicsmagazine.com, and I was looking, and he just posted today, June 15th, 2022, issue number 7 is for sale. So make sure everybody goes on there, jumps on. While you guys were talking, I hurried up and grabbed my issue. it looks really cool. The cover looks absolutely fantastic. I mean, they do such a great job. And if you guys haven't gotten any of the back issues, they're on there for really cheap. I think they're $3 a piece. And, they're a mixture between Cracked and Mad magazine with, kind of like a newer spin on it. Really cool magazines. And I think House of the Unusual, do we still have a advertisement in those, Eddie? Is he putting one in number 7?
I think he said he's going to run it as long as the comics keep running. He's running a full page ad there for us.
Nice.
Okay, cool. Well, if you are a Ski, thank you. If not, I'm still going to buy your magazine, but I want to see that advertisement back in it.
I actually know. I think he puts in an all. What I like to tell you though is I like to eventually work up another type of ad to put a different one on. But yeah, Ski is phenomenal. He's been working with us, and this guy is doing phenomenal job with us on there. So
yeah, absolutely. So
buy the comic.
Yeah, go out there and support his comics. He's independent. He's pushing them out himself. And actually, I'm looking on. If you look on their stupidcomicsmagazine.com under stuff, there's a little banner that says House of the Unusual Mail Order Mysteries, and there's a direct link to our flagship home site, houseoftheunusual.com. So very
Nice.
cool. Thank you, Ski, for that. We really appreciate it. And of course, we're going to still support you. I'm going to be putting up a link on the forum site too, so everyone has easier access to go right there to grab the newest issue and to keep up to date. You can also subscribe to his email right there on the front page. You can just put in your email and subscribe. I see he did put a shout out on there saying that if you're not receiving your emails, check your junk folder, because most of the time a lot of the emails that you want go to your junk folder, and a lot of the stuff you don't want ends up at your inbox if you're anything like me. So,
yeah.
So make sure you guys are definitely checking your junk mailbox if you have signed up for his email. And please, we're all about supporting the smaller companies here, so make sure you guys check that out.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, just a little hot. I just came across it when I found the fart, when I had to hit the fart thing. So luckily I seen that, because I only check sometimes once a week or anything, and he just put it out. It's looking like it just came out today, the 15th. So very cool.
Well, that fart machine they had in the Ripley's bathroom, it was an industrial one. I've never heard something like that.
It was shaking the walls.
Yeah, I mean,
outside going, what the heck did Chuck eat?
Yeah, I actually jumped. I said, what is going on? But the one thing I read about Robert Ripley, which was kind of fascinating, he was a cartoonist, as you know, or that you've read that at some point, but he was gripped by stage fright. So once he had his TV show, I think it only ran for like maybe 6 or 7 episodes until he died. But he was gripped by stage fright. I mean, he'd actually shake, he'd actually shake backstage prior to the program going on. Yeah, it was strange, but yeah, he would actually go into almost like a panic before he went
Chuck,
on.
what was and I'm going to ask the same thing of Eddie. So Eddie, get ready for your answer. But Chuck, what was your favorite item at the Ripley's Museum?
Well, they had a skull there was a hologram. It was of a trap end, like the skull, like there was holes that were drilled in by different, tribes from centuries ago. And so it said to try and grab this. It was a floating skull, but it turned out to be like a hologram. And then it said to put your hand in a little further, to reach a little further. When you went in to reach further, there was a burst of air that came out. It went, and it went on your hand, and it scared you. So you kind of pulled your hand. That was kind of cool. I thought that was neat to put a little, almost like a piece of history in there with combined with modern technology, like a hologram. It was neat.
Very cool. And Eddie, I know you've been to a couple Ripley. So what's one of your favorite items at the museum?
You know what? To be honest with you, the last Ripley's, I actually, what were you going to say?
All of them.
Yeah.
I was going to say the robot. I thought you mentioned, I said no. To be honest with you, Ripley's, the one I went to was the one in St. Augustine, Florida, the last time. And it was about 4 or 5 years ago, actually. And the thing about that is that the building is so darn old. This building is like 100+ years old. So the building was fascinating. But my favorite part of Ripley's is when you go into the souvenir shop. That was my favorite part.
Yeah, they got some nice stuff, definitely.
Oh yeah. I bought the Ripley's book that has like the outside cover. I remember was like some type of material. It was furry. Like you could touch the book and has like a little bit of a fur to it.
Yeah, that was. I think that was mold, Eddie.
Yeah.
It could have been more. No. It actually it was like a blue cloth cover, and I bought it. I have it somewhere because I still have it like mint condition. I think I opened it like once.
Believe it or not, it was mold.
It's kind of funny because when you say everything with books and stuff, I got to tell you that I love books, and I just have this huge thing about buying books, and then when I have them, I like to preserve them, and I have a habit of sometimes not even opening them to read the article that I bought them for.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I feel you on that one.
Well, yeah, but the problem with that is that you just buy, and you're like, I wonder if I'm ever going to read any of them. And I got to tell you, though, Ripley's, believe it or not, their souvenir shop was phenomenal. It did have the tomb with the bell. It had mostly the same things in that thing. In fact, I've been to the one in New York in 22nd Street and the one in St. Augustine, and I had another one. I forgot where it was years ago. But I got to tell you, though, I think they're all like have about 80% of the same exact things. And that's about it,
Yeah, you know what? I don't remember when I went to Ripley's. It was probably about 99 or 2000, and I don't remember, too much about it. I know I have photos somewhere because the girl that I was with, we took a lot of photos on disposable cameras. If anybody out there remembers what those were.
Yeah, what's that? What is that?
Yeah. I would have to go. I would have to find those photos and check. I do remember sitting, which was really cool, and I always liked the picture of it. Is they had a really huge chair, wooden chair. So when I sat on it, I looked like I was just some real small kid sitting on this big chair. I always thought that was really cool because always you grew up watching the movies where you see like the Incredible Shrinking Man and all that, and he's around the needle and the thread and everything, and he's looking real small. So I always thought that was cool, but unfortunately, I don't remember too much about what was in the museum. I would love to go visit one, now, and just to really go through and like Eddie said, the gift shop would probably be my favorite. I'd want to get a book or something.
Joe,
without mold though, no book with mold.
Joe, I have a question for you, Joe. That big chair, isn't that the one that was they put it there for the reason that they used it in that movie you're talking about?
You know what? I don't remember. I wish I did, but I have, like I said, I'd have to find the photos of it and see if there's a plaque or anything in front of it.
I got good news for you guys. The only problem that I have,
you're gonna ship us that chair.
No, I actually have photos and movies of the Ripleys. I have to find it on my computer, but the problem that I have, and that's sometimes I'm beginning to get angry with it because I was kind of looking for something I could put around my neck, like one of those cameras, like where I could just put it on my neck, and as I go through, it films without me touching it. I mean, I'm going to work on this.
A GoPro.
Well, a GoPro is too obvious because when you go to Chiller and a lot of the especially the artists that gets me so mad, don't take pictures. I'm like, what do you mean don't take pictures?
Yeah, I don't like that either.
I had in the last episode that I had in Chiller about a month ago, it was kind of funny because I went to take some pictures and there's this young girl there that's saying no pictures. I'm like, yeah, right. I said, I'm taking anyway. So she started jumping up and down in front of my camera, and I would go to the bottom and she go to the bottom, I go to the top, and we were like trying to play something, but I did it anyway. I took pictures. And I thought it was funny the way she was trying to block me. But the point I'm trying to say is that sometimes you don't see where you go. Like when you go into a haunted house, like when I went to the Mickey Mouse over in Walt Disney, believe it or not, it is about 3.5, 4 minutes long. It's not as long as the ride that Chuck was in. But that ride, I did so much with the video that you failed to actually look at the ride. So I'm like, the last 4 times I did it, I just wanted to absorb the whole thing. And it's kind of funny, though, because the first time I went, I wrote it 5 times. Then the second time I went, I probably wrote it 4 times. It broke, and I was pissed off that I couldn't time. And then the sixth, I was like, "Are you kidding me, Daddy?" And I'm like, "Jackie, I come here only to see the Haunted Mansion on the Pirates of the Caribbean." The Pirates of the Caribbean, you know what I hate about it? It has this sun drop when you go on it, and I kind of don't like the drop. so I only did it twice. But in one of them, I kind of cringed to the seat, and I scraped my knee because it hurt, man. But I'm telling you, I love filming all that stuff. So yeah, Joe, I'm gonna find the film and post it for you.
Yeah, that would be cool. You know what? It would be cool to get a private tour of Disneyland or Disney World. They said there's a group that gets together. You can on it. It's like 14 grand where they take you to Walt Disney's private quarters, on Main Street. They'll take you to the rides. I mean, that's a lot of cash though, but it would be cool to see the Hall of Presidents up close. Yeah, that would be so cool.
I'm going to say one thing real quick. I'm not going to, but Chuck, this is going to put you a little bit sad. The guy that made a movie for the Haunted Mansion. In fact, he was one of the original designers of the Haunted Mansion. Wow. And I didn't know that each tombstone outside the Haunted Mansion is actually the name or a tombstone based on one of the creators of the Haunted Mansion.
Oh, wow.
The artists. So when they have the names outside, those are actual names of people that were in it. So he takes you in an entire indoor tour of the thing. Well, I wrote him a while, like I think almost a year ago. And I said, if you're ever, because he's retired and stuff, he goes once in a while. So I told him that the next time he's planning to go to the one in Florida, because I think he lives in northern Florida, I would love to go. Would it be possible to get a slight tour after hours?
Ooh, that would be cool.
I got to find that. But the guy said he wasn't happy to. I'm actually going to try to get him on this show. I've been kind of talking to him once in a while.
That would be cool.
That would be phenomenal. But that would be an entire walk-in.
Oh, my.
You know what? You guys might not know this, but this is going to be up Joe's alley. Joe, do you know what is the number one peeve that Disneyland and Walt Disney have with people in the Haunted Mansion?
The number one beef that they have?
No, peeve. You know that they get angry at. Beef is the other one.
Oh, like a pet peeve.
Yeah, pet peeve. Oh, okay. So I pronounced it wrong. Go ahead.
That people are doing the dirty on the ride while it's going.
No. There's a lot of people that are bringing out to the park their family cremations, the dust, and they're throwing it inside the Haunted Mansion.
Oh my!
That's crazy talk.
That's disgusting.
A lot of people have been tossing their family remains onto the Haunted Mansion. I don't know, but that's one of the things that has happened a lot.
Wow, that would never even dawn on me. Like, hey, Grandpa, I'm gonna throw you in the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Holy smokes!
But a lot of people let's be honest. People I, as a kid, buying the Lakeside Haunted Mansion from Lakeside and playing with it, and I got to tell you real quick. I mean, obviously, I was one of those people that I'm fanatic of the Haunted Mansion, but I got to tell, it's kind of like this. And I think I mentioned to Joe, Joe, a few weeks ago, I told you that I came across, and in fact, on the website, I posted looking for a model kit that was it was originally 1970. MPC put out 4 different Haunted Mansion model kits. And you remember, Joe, they did 5 for the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Those kits, okay, they had what was called SAP Action. The Play It Again Sam, which was when the guy went to play the piano, a scale the piano. And anyway,
I remember that. Yeah.
I had all the kits minus one. I forgot which is the one I didn't have as a kid. I had the fire, and only 3 of the kits survived. 2 of the Haunted Mansion survived, and 1 survived from the Pirates of the Caribbean, which was called Fate of the Mutineers. That's the one where the pirate is reaching into the quicksand, and when he stands up straight, he takes the guy's hand with him. Well, that particular model kit, I have the originals. Okay, now they were reissued starting in 2018 from Lindbergh Models, and I thought I had purchased one, but I wasn't sure. So I realized last month or so that I had the kit, and that it was actually, because I knew it was the original reproduction, but they had changed the name on it, obviously, for copyright reasons, whatever. And I'm like, man, I didn't get most of this kits. And then I ran to Amazon to try, and I realized that I couldn't get the number 1 that was called Hex Marks the Spot. And the original was called Dead Man's Raft, which has a pirate at the helms, and then there's another pirate that pops out of the bottom of the ship, and with his knife plucks into a treasure map, and that's called Hex Marks the Spot. Hex, Hex.
Ooh,
It's
cool.
a new version of it. Man, let me tell you, I went on eBay. I did a total tour of the internet for 4 hours to get a hold of it. So then I was really kind of sad at this moment because I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm able to get all the others, but I can't get that. Then I noticed there was one that came out, the second one in the series, and it was going for like $60 on eBay. So I made a point to find one on Facebook, and the guy accidentally shipped it to my mom's house, which I got to get it next week. But without realizing, buying the kits, I got about 15 or 16 of the kits delivered to my house. And I'm like, my God, the different times I bought like 2 of each, sometimes 3 of each, because I see how they're going up in value. And it's something I would love to have and maybe build some of them. Now, Joe.
Do you let your wife know that all this is being
No. They've been
I
getting
hope she's not listening.
Yeah.
No. They've been getting shipped to my P.O. box. Now, together with this is the stuff I didn't realize. I didn't realize I had ordered 2 of the 3D monsters from the Moon Monsters that the guys had out, like some of you guys ordered. And I got 2 of them. It's a Moon Monster. It's about 12 inches tall. It's beautiful. I actually purchased 2 because they were selling out. The other thing that I got is that Albab. Is that how you pronounce the name, Joe? Albabas. He's always on our website.
Yeah, I think it's Alabads or something like that.
Okay, Alabads. He came up and he said, DM me on the forum. So I did, and he goes, Eddie, I found Hex Marks the Spot. I found one for you. It's going for $50. I'm going to bid for you, but it's in Japan. And it's going to take a couple months for me to get it so he saved my life getting one. But then I don't know what brought me out 2 days later to do a search on. I didn't know you can search on Amazon all the stuff you bought in the past. And lo and behold, I actually did purchase it when it came out. And I must have it in my storage. But I got so happy that I'm not going to have a broken up connection. But Joe, I'm going to tell you right now, especially if you like those model kits and they're the same, right now, you can still get most of them except for Hex Marks the Spot. You got to have good luck in that, and that will probably cost you over $500. All the other ones are still kind of available, especially the newer ones, because once they're gone, they have a big demand. Mm-hmm. And they go under Lindbergh's Jolly Roger is the one that does the Pirates of the Caribbean. Mm-hmm. And the other one is Haunted Manor is the one that does the Haunted Mansion versions. But they're phenomenal. You should all get them. Because
nice.
Anyway, go. That's my story.
Hey, I'd like to get back to that guy that could get you the private tour. If you need 2 more people to come there, let me know in advance. Maybe Cheri and I could meet you down in Orlando. You know what? If I can see that, and if I could see behind the scenes of the Hall of Presidents, I think I could die a pretty happy man. That would be Joe, be so cool, man.
I'll keep you in touch. I haven't talked to him like in 3 months because he did say not talk, but emailed him. But I will do it because I got to tell you, that is probably.
That would be so cool, man. And you know what? I've always been into robotics and gears and things. I mean, to see the Hall of Presidents, if that's possible too, that would be unbelievable. You know what? If anybody could get me in there, man, I would appreciate it.
I wanted to go back to Chuck. You were talking about there's a lot of street performers down in Ocean City. What was some of the acts that they were doing out there?
Well, one guy that we got on video, you're gonna have to. I don't think we sent the raw footage yet, but it's on Cheri's. Yeah, it's on Cheri's. Blurb on her YouTube channel. It's this guy. His name is Dan. And he did a little bit of magic with ropes and stuff, but he also did like a unicycling type of thing. And he was good with the quips. Man, he had a lot of one-liners. He was really, really cool. So she filmed the whole thing and uploaded it up to YouTube. So if you have a chance, check it out. And one guy down there played the violin, but he had a glass violin. It was really cool. It was a see-through, either plexiglass or glass.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he was he just sat there pretty much.
Yeah, karaoke.
Yeah, here, you go ahead and tell him the rest.
There was a guy doing karaoke. He had the machine, and people would come by and do the karaoke for free. That was down by Ripley's. Yeah, and then there was this guy. He was a gorgeous artist. I mean, his paintings were phenomenal, very beautiful. And there was some other like musicians, yeah, like with drums or whatnot.
It seemed like years ago when we had the kids down there about 15 years ago, there was much more street performers. I didn't
Yeah,
see quite
there
as
wasn't
many.
as many.
I mean, back 15 years ago or so, there was like magicians, there was mimes, clowns, all kind of stuff. And then the guy still did the sand art
Yeah, it's
on the
beautiful.
beach, which is really cool. He's a very, very talented
The
person.
picture of Jesus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what it's religious pictures, but he did a fantastic job.
Now, Cheri, at this point, were you afraid that your vacation was going to get ruined because Chuck was going to throw down a hat and start doing magic tricks out there?
Oh no, that would have been
He's
kind of
like,
fun.
you know what? Vacation's on hold. I'm doing some magic on the street here.
That would have been cool. I don't know if you need a permit or what the story is down there, but
Yeah, you know what? I'm not sure if you need a permit, but you know what? We were on the tour bus, so I couldn't bring too much stuff. But you know what? If I would have, drove down, I would have had my little battery PA system. I would have put it there, and I would have put some props up and put a little magic hat out for tips.
and I'd be out on the beach.
There you go.
The
You know, Chuck, you should have tried it. They would have arrested you. Then you need a permit.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Speaking of, there was quite a lot of policemen there on bikes, walking, a lot of presence, a lot of police presence.
Yeah.
Which was
good.
cool.
There wasn't too much trouble there, was there?
No, not at all. But they
Okay.
were setting up, like the last couple of days we were there, they started setting up on the beach. It looked like vendor.
For like an air show type.
There was some big
Oh, okay.
air show that was
Joe would
coming
love
in for the
that.
weekend. It was awesome.
Oh,
So
that would have been cool.
they were doing all that.
I gotta ask you guys, both Joe and Chuck and Cheri. Joe, starting with you and stuff. When you've gone to any of that stuff, you see Atlantic City had a pretty nice boardwalk. I remember when I got married in '84. The last time I went there, like in '95, I think it was. One thing I noticed that it was getting filled with gypsies, and that made it really bad. Like, in fact, there's a right next to my house, about 10 blocks away, there where you walk over Boulevard East, which sees the entire city. There's a beautiful park there, and I went there a couple of times and got approached within just going into the park by gypsies, and they're always trying to like scam you out of something. and the police came down, they cracked down, they arrested, I think, everybody. You know,
Were they trying to tell you had the mark of the werewolf on your hand?
I have a feeling, yeah. But that ruined Atlantic City. The shady people on the boardwalk that approach you, and no one says nothing to them. I'm surprised.
I
That didn't happen.
When I spent a lot of time down in Myrtle Beach in the late '90s on the boardwalk down there, there was a lot of like, I guess you would call them like hippies or potheads, just all over the place on the boardwalk. And the police would really kind of crack down on them because they were just kind of hanging out, and some of them just, smoking pot, in the middle of the day. And it was turning a lot of people off, and they were just kind of just loitering all over the boardwalk. And I remember talking to one of the cops down there, and he was saying that they would kind of hang around, and there would be a lot of thefts from the shops and everything. So I know they had a problem with that, but the police were doing a real good job of trying to get them out of there. But anywhere you go, you're going to have your trouble and all that. But it sounds like out in Ocean City, they were getting a little ahead of the game and making sure nothing was going to go down there.
That's right. And there was a lot of young people there for graduation, and I don't know if it was college kids, maybe some high school kids. So there was a lot of police, I think, too, that were just being there proactive.
Making sure that they weren't getting out of hand. I mean,
That's exactly right.
You see some of those parties like down in Florida and all that. They're like almost like a riot with thousands of kids running around.
Yeah, that's in like South Beach and everything.
I just want to shake my fist and say, "Get off my lawn!"
No, South Beach is horrible. People think South Beach is like actually going to like the Bronx, New York. South Beach it looks nice because it's in a nice location, but everything in South Beach is horrible. There's nothing good about it.
Yeah,
it never was. Back in the 70s, it was filled with old people that were retired. All the hotels were like old people just living there. It was dilapidated. Then when they fixed it up and it started going, it turned into something. It's more like the old Studio 54 in New York City. It's not good. Even right now, you go to New York, the crime has gone back to the 70s type of thing. It's not like, see, I used to love going to 42nd Street, Joe, and you probably will like this. Of all the vendors and stuff that are outside hanging out, some are drawing with cans, and some are drawing your. I love that stuff because it's all different and unique performers.
That's cool. Absolutely.
But then
I always like the street performers. Very cool stuff that they would do, and over time you could see how they progressed, and there's some really intricate stuff, especially with the ones where it looks like the person sitting in the air. You have some that look like metal statues.
Oh yeah, you've got some very talented people that that actually street perform. You know what? Like I get, sometime in the future, I can actually see myself doing that somewhere. I don't know why.
I think hey, where's Chuck and Cheri? Like, oh, he's at Ocean City working the streets.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not shy, man. You know what? I just pick up a microphone and do some magic. I do it.
Get yourself a little chimpanzee and call him Little Joe.
There you go.
Yeah, and I actually
playing little symbols and all that while you're
absolutely. You know what? I actually built a puppet show, almost like a marionette type of show. I'll post it on the forum. What I actually built this with the intent someday, God willing, to go out and actually busk with this. Like it's, like it's a little stage. It's all sound activated. I have hidden voice modules on there. Like I have a Michael Jackson marionette. I got Frank Sinatra. You know what? He comes out holding a cigarette and he's singing. It's really cool.
You built all that.
Yeah, I actually built it all. It's pretty neat.
Cool. I actually caught a marionette show up in Niagara Falls about, God, I think it was there about 18 years ago or so. And somebody up there, I can't remember exactly where it was at, but it was like a little street performer or something. And it was like, an old school marionette where the lady was yelling at the guy.
Yeah.
And, they had the little bats and they were fighting each other. And it was like kind of like a Middle Ages set. It was really cool. I really enjoyed it.
Talent, man. There's a lot of talent out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Joe, I went to Boston like you almost 15, 16 years ago with my son one time. And we're walking. Boston, that's one thing about Boston. Boston has a beautiful, not a boardwalk, but there's like a mall area there. It's in the next to the North Station, which is where the buses and stuff go there. And it's like a mall. I forgot the name of it, but there's stores, but you walk outside basically. And it's like a closed street. There's no traffic going through it. And there's a performer. There's a couple of performers that I've seen, a street performer doing magic, doing, what do you call it? Not acrobat. What do you call the thing? Juggling. One guy was in a unicycle juggling. And that was so fun, man. Like, I really like that stuff.
Hopefully he wasn't juggling chainsaws or hatchets. Like that.
Well, that's for the Halloween season. They'll do that.
Yeah. Well, hey, guys, we got about 2.5 minutes here, so we are going to wrap it up. And I think we're doing another one right after this because he's going on his vacation next week, and we'll definitely have some stories from him. So this podcast will come out its normal time, early wee mornings of Thursday, and then we are going to record again today, and then we'll have the podcast for next week. So, we won't be missing a week and all that, even while people are taking vacations and everything. And so we're gonna wrap this one up here, and I definitely want to kind of push everybody to our flagship site, houseoftheunusual.com, and please check out our forum there. There's some really cool stuff going on there. And also our YouTube channel, House of the Unusual. Eddie and Chuck are always having some great videos. And if you don't find the videos there, look on there, search Cheri Caputo, and there's some other videos on there. And Chuck, where's the dark ride? Is that on our site and your guys' site as well?
Both.
Yeah, it's on
both.
It's actually, and so is the Ripley's. Yeah, it's
okay. On both. Yeah, definitely check out both of those videos, especially the dark ride one. It's really cool. It's only about 5 minutes long. And it's fantastic, and you won't want to miss the view of the beach. So if you weren't able to make it to the beach this year, you could just pause it on that section and sit back in your chair and just pretend that you're there. But hey, guys, thanks for joining us this week, Chuck, Cheri, Eddie, everybody
pleasure.
Out there on your favorite podcast platform, however you're listening to us. Please subscribe to our channel. Give us a great review because it definitely helps us out. And if you want to give us any topics to talk about, or you want to become a guest, hit us up on houseoftheunusual.com. Let us know there, and we'll try to get back to it, and we'll try to change up the subjects that you guys are looking forward to, because we're always looking to talk about some new and cool things. So, guys, that's all we got for this week. Thanks for joining us, everybody, and good night.
God bless.
Good night. God bless.